people have to be extremely militant and demand a little more than they are demanding today, and to do other things as well as pray, let me put it, as well as pray. And I have never separated my work as an artist from my work as a human being. I've always put it even more strongly, that to me, my art is always a weapon. It began when I was a little boy in Princeton, New Jersey, in a college town where the students mainly came from the deep South. You know, Princeton, Harvard, and Yale was the sort of the Southern University of the North, whether you know that or not. And so I grew up in Jersey in a rather Southern atmosphere. And my father was a minister, and I was shaped against that background.
Shirley, again, echoing Robeson's word, every artist, every scientist must decide now where he stands. He has no alternative. There is no standing above the conflict on Olympian heights. There are no impartial observers, though the heritage through the propagation of false ideas and of racial and national superiority, the artist, the scientist, the writer is challenged. The struggle invades the formerly cloistered halls of our universities and other seats of learning. The battlefront is everywhere. There is no sheltered rear. There's nowhere to hide. We must confront what is going on in the world. Your thoughts on confronting what is going on in the world?
Okay. Whether you're an artist, a scientist, it doesn't matter. Whatever your profession is, whatever your ideas are, the world goes on, and you have to confront what's going on in the world. If you're an artist, you use that to draw or to paint or whatever, how you feel about what's going on. If you're a scientist, you do experiments or you find out a way to cure cancer or whatever. If you're a teacher, you teach those to do better, to grow up to be a credit to your race, as they said to Paul Robeson. So no matter what your field, no matter what your ideas, the world goes on. And you take care of it by whatever your profession is or whatever your ideas are. I think that kind of answers the question. I hope so.
Greg, I've learned that my people are not the only ones oppressed. I've sung my songs all over the world and everywhere found that some common bond makes the people of all lands take to Negro songs as their own.
Well, I think that that's a very powerful statement. And I think the reality of life is that we all have experienced some level of oppression. There's all kinds of oppression that impacts all of humanity. And I think that we need to hone in supporting one another in our struggles, in our difficulties, in our challenges, and appreciate the experiences that other cultures have had and the challenges that they've experienced and faced. And I think if we all kind of look in that humanistic lens, I think that we would be better off as a people, as the human race, by recognizing that we all have some of those struggles and we all have those journeys that we have to carry through.
Okay. Lance, the talents of an artist, small or great, are God-given. They have nothing to do with the private person. They have nothing to be proud of. They're not just a sacred trust. Having been given, I must give. Man shall not live by bread alone, and what the farmer does, I must do. I must feed the people with my songs.
But that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Well, I think that for me, that the artists and the sowing, I think about what Greg was mentioning about Israel, and I'm thinking about the sowing of the seeds and how the sowing of the seeds is so important. I think that artistry and being an artist means that. It means that we're sowing seeds to people. And sowing the seeds is different than the seeds we find out in the field. These seeds are seeds of accomplishment, seeds of we can do it, seeds of our forefathers and mothers have been here before, and they were able to accomplish things. So I think that the whole idea behind the statement in my mind, it takes me back to the sowing of the seeds, which has brought all of us a mighty long way.
You know, we're talking about the elections and just the change of the personalities just a minute ago. And Robeson said the intolerance of a few, or the risk of it, carries the day against the wider humanity of the many. Meaning that we're in a world where we're listening, the few crazy folks are getting a big voice, but the wider humanity is almost silent. And we need to change the dynamic and push the humanity, the much more human beings in us to come forward. And I see, Ben, what you're doing over at the Robeson House is trying to bring that Robeson humanity a little bit at a time into the community, into the town, into the state, into the nation, with Shirley's back. Talk to us about, what do you think about the time period that we're in right now and the intolerance of the few?
I grew up in an era when we thought being able to have lunch at the Woolworths was a great deal, a big deal. Can you imagine? I don't even think they have them anymore. But people fought for that privilege. And I think very much that times change, people grow and not. There are things that are happening in the 50s and the 60s that are being replicated today. I hear Donald Trump, he sounds just like George Wallace as far as I'm concerned. Those are the kinds of reminders that life goes on. We have learned, and we have made significant progress. But we have to understand the people of Israel, the people of Afghanistan, those are the same struggles in a different environment, but the idea and the oppression is the same, to put people down, to not allow for equal opportunities for everyone. And so I think that we have learned from our past. We should take the example of the Robeson House. It's going to be here long after I'm gone, and someone will remember that what Paul is, who he is, what he has done, and how he or they might replicate it. I have to mention, we just honored, named several students and Robeson scholars. We have already reached back to begin to orient and encourage young people to know their history and to actively participate in it. We're very proud of that project. We're going to be hearing more about the scholars over the years.
Well, listen, this has been one of the most interesting conversations that I've had in a long time. Because it's intergenerational. Two, I'm talking to folks who are knowledgeable. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long ways from home. 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 Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long ways from home. A long because my mouth is wide with laughter, and my throat is deep with song, you do not think I suffer after I have held my pain so long? Because my mouth is wide with laughter, you do not hear my inner cry? Because my feet are gay with dancing, you do not know I die?